Hello there, TikTok family. Hello everybody. Today I will be teaching you guys on how to basically get smooth remap and how to make your remap paste into each other perfectly. I'm gonna be remapping 3 clips to keep this short and simple and nice, and I'll be explaining on the way on what the process is and what I'm doing. First things first, you want to make sure your clip is interpolated. We have this clip interpolated as a whole. Boom. This is already the first step into the smooth remap. So what I'm going to be doing now is cutting up my clips real quick so we can get straight to the point. And also for this tutorial, for what I personally do, I only use the flowchart. I do not use the AE graph. So we're just gonna pick the clip. We're gonna have our clip placed, and we're just gonna have it sync with our song. So I'm gonna be using With My Hoe with this Fortnite clip, and I'll get back to you guys when I have this cut and ready to time remap for the next 3 clips. Once you have your clips placed and once you have your clips cut and ready to time remap, let's get straight to it. So our clips are already interpolated, but make sure they're interpolated, and you want to do Control-Alt-T to enable time remap. And place your first keyframes, have your keyframes sync to however you need them to. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna place my keyframe right here, so we can have like a little dead end on the end of this, so we can place another keyframe. But I explained that part. Don't jump ahead yet, but I explain that part when we cross that bridge. But we just need to leave that a little extra space out because we're gonna be using that for later. Right now we have our 2 keyframes placed. On this keyframe, let's get your key. Let's have this set up. And the reason why I say to just simply use your flowchart graph and not press F9 when you select your 2 keyframes, you have these symbols that sort of look like this, right? These 2 little arrows. I don't really know the major difference, but the things that I've noticed in it is that it kind of leaves like your remap ongoing. It's kind of like an easy E still, but it kind of has your remap ongoing, so it doesn't really give you a dead space, you know what I mean? So right now we have this part set up with our first beat. So and then now this dead space I remember I told you guys about. So what I like to do is I come over real quick, I'll place another keyframe, and then I kind of like ramp up the time a little bit. You want to hold control. So yeah, you want to hold control, move over to the right just a little bit, just up the time a little bit, so we can like almost flow into the clap or to the next beat of your choice, right? So that's kind of a little too fast and a little too noticeable. Alright, so we could just loosen this graph up a little bit. We just like loosen this up. And boom, we have our first clip right here. And then we have our last leading keyframe out, so it can just, flow into the next sequence. And so here's the next clip of our next sequence right here. So what I do is, the clips are already going to be cut up, and they're going to be misplaced and shit, out of time, and that's fine, because with time remap, when you place the keyframe, you can just always adjust the clock and into your preference. But right now we don't want to go too far ahead, so it doesn't look like a straight up match cut, you know what I mean, or not like a match cut, so it doesn't look like a straight jump cut. So you want to keep this a little flow. So you see how these 2 already just flow into each other already? That's what we want. That's nice. It's great. And we have our next keyframe set up. So we just, catch the next beat or whatever the choice may be, and then set up your flow graph. And let's have this a little tighter so it's not so loose and it kind of like, catches the clap perfect. And then just like last time, have a little bit of hanging room left. Put a little extra oomph on the time on a little keyframe. Spread it out a bit so it doesn't be like, you know, overly dramatic. And then now, last but not least, for this, enable time remap again with Control Alt T. Place your first keyframe. So here's the next tricky part. We're gonna be trying to sync with the smoke some part. So here's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna place the next keyframe at the sum part, and I'm gonna like graph this now. And then just, you know, just listen it back just to make sure it syncs right. Alright, so we can move this back just one more. Place another keyframe so it's like almost right after, like, you know, the E part of the sum. Likewise before, like usual, we'll just simply leave this here since it's just and then next key and then next key. Then the last keyframe we'll place at is at the grass part. So all I did right here now is just extend the clip a bit so they could just, you know, catch on to the full on part. And here's our so this is how I will paste, and this is how Jecka would, like, you know, how Jecka would paste her own edits. And this is the outcome that you should. Now that's how I simply dynamically. Hope this was not too confusing for you. This was almost kind of like of an edit with me, and I'm not the best at explaining this. Hope you guys learned a thing or two. If you do need any help, don't be afraid to leave a comment. I will be helping anybody if they need so. But this is Jecka. I hope you all have a great evening or afternoon or morning. Have a good one now.